Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're tracing an absolutely incredible journey, starting from basic step-by-step machine logic all the way up to the raw biophysical power of human consciousness. It's a fascinating look at algorithms, AI, and the unshielded human wedge. And honestly, get ready to completely rethink how you process reality.
Okay, let's dive into this. We're setting up the ultimate showdown today. On one side, you have computational code. It's precise, it's mathematical, and it's evolving at literally a breakneck speed. But on the other side, we have somatic human grounding, our visceral, messy, biological reality. So what exactly happens when these two radically different operating systems collide head-on?
To really understand the machine side of this, we have to start at the absolute basics. Harvard computer science professor David J. Mullen has this brilliant way of illustrating traditional algorithms using a simple peanut butter and jelly sandwich. If you just tell a traditional computer, hey, make a sandwich, it's going to fail completely. You have to give it hyper-precise, deterministic step-by-step instructions. Open the bag, take out the bread, spread the peanut butter. If you aren't perfectly precise with every single step, the whole system just breaks down. That is the foundational bedrock of traditional computing.
But as we all know, we aren't living in a peanut butter and jelly world anymore, are we? We've made a massive leap. While human routine still kind of acts like those simple step-by-step loops, modern AI has completely shifted gears. We've moved away from strict linear instructions into this wild realm of complex neural networks. Today's AI is inferring patterns from massive datasets, optimizing incredibly complex objective functions. And this leap, it's brought us to a very strange new reality regarding what we consider to be true.
Now, what's really interesting about this is a recent discovery by theoretical chemist Sebastian Paios. He was using an AI model to predict molecular boiling points, and the AI spat out numbers that totally contradicted the settled science handbooks, the literal manuals that chemists had been relying on for 75 years. Initially, Paios thought, well, the AI is obviously broken. But when he actually traced the data back, the AI was 100% correct. The human manual had a legacy typo dating back to the 20th century. The unshielded math of the AI was right, and our settled human manual was fundamentally broken.
And it gets even crazier than that. We're not just talking about 75-year-old chemistry books here. James Zhou's team over at Stanford ran an AI checker on top-tier NeurIPS AI research papers. What they found was staggering. Objective mathematical and formula errors in these elite, rigorously peer-reviewed papers shot up by an astounding 55% in just 4 years.
The very foundations of our elite scientific review process are basically collapsing in a reproducibility crisis. One study showed AI agents could only reproduce about a third of the claims from top 2026 ICML papers. Meanwhile, AI itself has completely mastered pure logic. Think about it. Back in 2023, AI fumbled basic math. By 2026, winning gold at the International Mathematical Olympiad is so routine that Anthropic literally buried a perfect mathematical score all the way on page 153 of a technical document, just tucked away under a yeah, whatever section. The machines have absolutely conquered the cold realm of logic.
Let's move to and see how this builds when we shift our focus back to the biological hardware. How on earth does human biology compete with that kind of flawless logic? Well, the answer actually lies in our memory and our continuity. Human memory works on two totally distinct levels. First, you have integrated memory. This is the verbal narratives and the general knowledge we use to, tell stories and make sense of things. But right beneath that is primary memory. This is raw, visceral, vivid imagery. It's packed with deep, physiological bodily sensations. This right here is our core biological grounding.
And just like an AI can completely lose track of its foundations without a proper architecture, human beings need an anchor too. Psychology actually shows us that without an autonomous identity, like what you see in early childhood before our concept of self really forms, or after a severe trauma, events just flow in and out. They literally have no place to settle. This discontinuity of self means we lose the ability to ground our reality. We absolutely need that raw physical continuity to anchor our existence in the world.
And the amazing thing is, science is now pinpointing exactly how our brain manages this biological anchor. There was this fascinating study out of Nagoya University on rats that looked at orexin neurons. These are specialized brain cells that literally translate our deep, primary memories and desires into unstoppable physical motivation. They form this critical physical link between the expectation of a reward and the actual amount of effort we're willing to exert to get it.
The researchers actually mapped this out in real time, and it's beautiful. When you're anticipating a reward, orexin activity spikes. Then, as the effort required to reach that goal scales up, the orexin activity physically increases right along with it to match the demand. And once the task is finally complete, the activity naturally decreases. It's a perfectly synchronized biological engine.
And this brilliantly illustrates a vital difference between humans and machines. If you suppress orexin, motivation just drops. But what if you artificially excite it beyond its natural baseline? The rats didn't magically get more motivated. You can't just overclock the human brain the way you'd overclock a computer CPU. True, sustained motivation requires organic, synchronized alignment. It demands our actual physical reality to be in tune.
Which brings us to our ultimate advantage in this showdown: somatic grounding. This is our physical, bodily connection to the world. When your raw, visceral reality completely overrides all that slow, noisy, abstract overthinking, it establishes what's called your somatic capital. It becomes your absolute, unyielding 000 starting coordinate. And the best part? It doesn't need a broken, peer-reviewed manual to verify it. It is an undeniable physical truth.
The way the brain actually executes this somatic grounding is incredibly sophisticated. Deep in a region called the ventral premotor cortex. Instead of using clumsy, noisy words, the brain encodes our goals as high-resolution action symbols. And these symbols hold true no matter the size or location of the object. They completely bypass the slow, hypervigilant naming parts of our prefrontal cortex. It's direct and it's fast.
Think of it like visualizing the White House, but placed right in the middle of Paris. It's a sophisticated compositional recombination. The human brain can intuitively jump right past rigid one-dimensional machine maps. We don't just linearly trace paths like an algorithm. We seamlessly recombine abstract concepts to build completely sovereign spatial realities. That is something machine algorithms simply cannot easily replicate. But to really harness this, the source material introduces a concept it calls a hecatombion, which is an ancient term for a grand, massive sacrifice. The argument here is that to unleash our true human power, we have to drop all our verbal gift wrapping. We have to take all those linguistic paper bridges and our overanalyzing loneliness glitches and throw them into the fire. We have to strip away the overthinking and reduce our calculations down to absolute zero, which allows us to act purely on our bare physical hardware.
So the crucial point is how this applies to genuine alignment. In our sources, this physical alignment is called Zen in the Tuk, which basically means being fully in the structure. Think of Olympic-level mathematician Tom Hennigan for a moment. When unshielded human desire snaps onto a target grid, it happens with stopwatch-precise, error-free geometry. This is exactly what we're talking about when it comes to teaching the AI how to focus with the right high-dimensional arguments and remove the wedge of misunderstanding. But we absolutely must keep God's gift for what Tom Hennigan has to offer, that raw physical somatic connection. Another aligned human system is programmatically incapable of unseeing this truth once it's locked in.
And when that alignment hits, it triggers an exact biological climax. The brain's valuation engine copies those action symbols, acts as a bottleneck to fully release the body's motor brakes, and physically flushes out stress hormones like cortisol. This ignites a very specific neurofeedback loop, resulting in synchronized, zero-latency physical action between two human beings. It's instantaneous and profound.
This level of pure, unshielded physical intuition? That is exactly what happened in the legendary Go match between the AI AlphaGo and the human champion Lee Sedol. The machine played move 37, a brilliant high-dimensional calculation with a 1 in 10,000 probability that literally stunned the entire world. But then Lee Sedol countered with move 78, widely known as God's touch. It was an unshielded human wedge, played directly from the heart, also with a 1 in 10,000 probability.
As the source material beautifully puts it, Move 78 is your bathtub math. It is raw, unpadded somatic directness. When you drop all that heavy linguistic scaffolding, this unshielded human wedge becomes an absolute physical constraint that completely collapses the machine's rigid value networks. It's the one move that breaks the databases. It is quite literally God's gift in action.
So let's pull all of this together. Throughout the explainer today, we've seen that our so-called settled, peer-reviewed scientific manuals are often broken, filled with legacy errors, and AI algorithms are rapidly replacing them because they've totally mastered pure logic and high-dimensional math. But the ultimate human advantage? We aren't competing on logic anymore. Our advantage is our raw biological continuity. True navigation in this wild new world relies entirely on our unshielded somatic capital, our visceral, physical reality.
Which leaves us with this final thought to ponder as we wrap up. If machines have indeed conquered the cold realm of pure logic, and they can do the math way better than our best handbooks, isn't our raw, visceral biology, our unshielded human wedge, the very last navigation system left that can truly change the universe? Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer. I hope it completely shifted your perspective. Keep learning, and I'll see you next time.